said, it's very, very likely that tomorrow is the day when the hijab verdict is going to be out in the Supreme Court. Times Now has accessed the cause list, which says that very, very likely that the hijab verdict is going to come out tomorrow. Neha is joining us live. Let's put that cause list out on air right now. Neha, what is going to be the main points that are going to be of concern in the verdict tomorrow? Let's show that cause list. Neha.
Yes, well, in fact, what we're picking up right now is that it's likely that the Supreme Court is going to announce its verdict on the entire hijab matter tomorrow. This is imperative over here because, this was the matter that started in the year 2021, December. It's almost been about a year now, a good 10 months to be precise, since this matter had gone to various courts. In fact, the matter had also drawn international, lenses as well, where we saw how, this wasn't just merely restricted to Karnataka. After this issue was broached, we saw how it had spread to the entire country. We saw several other countries also coming in support and, of course, against, both sides of this. The Supreme Court, of course, which had heard this matter, which went on for more than almost a week now in the top court. We heard arguments from both sides as well being submitted, and now likely that tomorrow the matter is, of course, going to be finally decided, the verdict of which is going to come out. It's important to mention that, this is going to have a huge impact on the students over here in the state of Karnataka, of course, and understandably so in other parts of the country as well. Now, while this matter, began at a college in Udupi, at a PU college in Udupi in Karnataka, this is, of course, going to have much larger impact. We saw how there were protests. There were several protests that had broken out across the country over this entire issue. This had drawn, in fact, headlines internationally, globally as well. This matter had exploded, and now, with the matter having reached the top court as well, likely that it is going to be, announced tomorrow, the verdict. We'll really have to wait and see. Having said that, of course, on ground across the state of Karnataka, all arrangements have been made in terms of the law and order situation, also ensuring that it doesn't really spiral out of control, because that was one of the major concerns, again, while the verdict also had to be announced by the Karnataka High Court. Now, the Education Department also, of course, would really have to keep a watch over here across all schools in the state in order to ensure that, no untoward incident really takes place. But, a big development over here.
Absolutely. Very, very big development. Let's also go across to Madhavdas Gopalakrishnan, because there were some very, very important points in the course of this hearing, which has gone on for close to a month, if I'm not mistaken, Madhav, and some very strong observations made by the court, which in themselves led to quite a lot of debate. If you could take us through some of that.
Well, several important points that have been made. In fact, while the petitioners themselves have contended that it is, in fact, their right to religion that is, in fact, to be upheld, and that the Karnataka High Court order is in direct violation of that. To the contrary, in fact, it is the right to equality and several other fundamental rights that have been invoked. The government only saying that in a school it is equal, that the uniform, in fact, the whole idea of a uniform is that it's the equality of the students that has to be represented, and that is where the order is completely allowed, or is certainly justified, because this is something that is applicable to not just those who are wearing the hijab, but also to those students who are wearing saffron shawls and coming into the school. So that has been the contention of the right. There have been different aspects and different arguments that have been taken through the course of the entire hearing have been made, and very, very crucial and will be important, because this issue, not just in Karnataka, but in different parts of the country, has resonated. We, of course, seen a lot of agitation on ground in relation to this issue, of course, in Karnataka, where it started off, of course, in the Mangalore district, and then later, in fact, had manifested in different other districts of Karnataka, including Shimoga,
Okay.
and several other places where we had seen protests. So one will have to see what the law and order situation is on ground in Karnataka as well, and of course what finally the apex court adjudicates as far as this very sensitive matter is concerned.
Very, very important landmark judgment is to come tomorrow on the issue, because remember, a number of arguments have been made about whether it is essential to the practice of religion, about whether it can be involved even where there is a dress code, and more importantly about whether not allowing hijab where there is a uniform dress code is a violation of fundamental rights. So all of those questions finally are going to be adjudicated upon in the Supreme Court. We'll be keeping a very, very close eye. Times Now, of course, is your destination for the big story of the day tomorrow. That's it then from me, and on this edition of The Nation Wants to Know. I'll see you next at 10 on the News Hour agenda.